So welcome to the Permaboss video on a comparison between a plotter laser and a scanner laser, the NGL laser in the bottom right hand corner. So in both these cases we had the opportunity to go to a customer who bought our 50 watt universal base laser, but they owned a 60 watt plotter laser. The plotter laser, you have to always set something up into a specific spot, and it's very difficult to register because generally you have to cut some sort of a template first, not move anything, and then set the object within the template, or you have to start in the top right corner, bottom left corner, whatever. Some of the disadvantages are that you physically have the movement of the head. It's not a bad thing, it's just the principle of a plotter laser is that you physically have to move the X and Y axis. So if there's an embroiderer listening to this, it's like the pantograph, it moves X and Y. And if you get up really close sometimes, you'll see there's a bit of jaggedness to it. In the bottom right, you already notice that in a very short period of time, we have produced like 9 logos, I think it is, very, very quickly, and we haven't even finished, maybe 1/3 on a plotter laser. So the output is, depending upon the logo, in this particular case, I think we're going to end up with 30-something logos. It's 30 times greater. And we don't have the sensitivity of the focal area. So with a plotter laser, you've got a very narrow spot. The lens is often the size of something that looks like a pencil eraser. And on the NGL laser, the lens is something that's bigger than the bottom of the old glass Coca-Cola bottles. I wish it would be that cheap, but that's not the case. So the point is that you have a mirror movement in a scanning Galvo laser, and you cover a large area exceptionally quickly. Now, to give you an idea, if you've ever sat in a car and switched with your spouse or a friend who's a different height than you, the mirrors are all messed up. They don't work for you or they don't work for them. And a tiny little change in the mirror makes all the difference in the world. And here we have a tiny little movement of the laser mirror, but the result is a very large movement further away. And that's why we can do the scanning thing that's so dramatically quicker. And we're not speeding it up on either one of these cases. They're both live. It always bothers me that when you look at plotter videos from the companies, in order to save time, they've sped it up dramatically. So we're talking about them putting in a high-speed video to make it look simple, and you don't always notice it until you see the people in the background moving around. They look like Charlie Chaplin's in the old days in the video. They're so moving, so twitchy and funny. The goal is that you have a quick time to set up. The goal is that you don't have a complexity of setup. The goal is that when you do one, it frees you up. If you're doing a piece of marble on a plotter laser, it might take you 90 minutes to 2 hours. No joke. If you're doing it on a scanning laser, it might take you 60 seconds to 90 seconds. So if you take a $4 piece of granite polished and you want to make a memorial, an award, a safety award, a retirement plaque or whatever, and you want to sell it for 85 bucks, but it takes you 90 minutes to do it, it really wasn't that special. If you do the whole thing and you do it in maybe 3 minutes total from setup to end, or you do the whole thing in an etch in 90 seconds and you're charging the 95 bucks, that's a game changer. So it's not, in this particular case, this 60 watt universal laser, not that there's anything wrong with it, was $60,000. And in the case of the NGL, it was virtually in the same price range but completely different technology. So that's a very fair comparison. The more power you have, the faster you can do things because you're putting more energy into a dot, into a period, into a space than you would traditionally. So think of a big old-fashioned antique heavy glass magnifying glass and think of a cheap dollar store one, and you'll notice that with the dollar store one it takes longer to burn a piece of newspaper, and with the old-fashioned one you can do it in an instant, in a few seconds. So here we did a countdown. We spent, I guess now we're in the 4th minute of the video, and we've got 30 pieces that have been completed here. 30, not one. On the other video with the plotter, we did in that whole period of time only one piece. So imagine when you're doing things like patches and you get a maximum of $3.50 for a patch put onto the garment, and it takes you 5 minutes to do one, or it takes you 5 minutes to do 30, or in this case just under 5 minutes, where is the money going to be made? And you want to be earning $300 to $600 per hour with one of our lasers, not $35 an hour with a plotter. It pays for itself.